Good morning everybody, I'm Sultana Banu. So I'll talk about Netflix strategy today. Whenever we talk about strategy, especially successful strategies being implemented, the first thing comes to my mind is always Netflix, Netflix, Netflix. Because whenever I hear the word weekend and chill, Netflix comes to my mind. So I chose today to talk about Netflix and the entertainment industry, how it has been evolved and how the transformation has taken place and what strategy have been implemented to have such a great transformations. To talk more about it, let me talk the background of the entertainment industry first. Earlier, people depended usually on this DVD rentals for the entertainment purpose, especially in 1990s to earlier 2000s. People had dependent on the DVDs, like people used to go to the physical stores where the DVDs were available. They used to rent it, watch the movies, return it to the next day and pay the fees for that. If they were late to return it, they used to pay penalties for such things. Now, Netflix identified this gap and came up with a new concept called having a website wherein people used to order the DVDs and they used to get delivered to their address through the mail. So this DVD rental mail company was started by Netflix and it was very good adopted by the people and it was going on very well. Now what the issue had taken place was Netflix faced difficulties to identify the cash flow visibility because there was no predicted cash flows happening. So for which what Netflix did was came up with a unique strategy and the most important one, having subscription based model wherein people already take a subscription based on monthly or yearly and DVDs used to deliver to their places based on its availability and people return it to back. Now this was going on. Then due to the changes in the environment, coming up changes in the technologies, what the first and the very first move Netflix took was shifting it from the DVDs to online streaming, and it gained greatest popularity and became the most influential and the giants in online streaming for today. What they did, directly shifted from the DVDs to having been adopted like using internet. People can watch the movies or the show, their favorite shows anytime, anywhere. They also introduced the great concept called binge watching. At the time, people can watch it multiple times whenever they required. This had gained the most popularity. Now, for today, Netflix have access around 190 plus countries and gaining the gains in online streaming, though it has their own competitors like Disney Hotstar, for today Geo Hotstar and Prime and all those things. What strategies have they used to stay ahead, gain that competitive advantage? To know further, I'll talk on the journey of enterprise, like gaining the competitive edge, as it has three stages, namely survival, profit maximization and gaining competitive advantage. How Netflix have used strategies in these three stages. Firstly, talking about survival, very important, though you gain this thing, firstly you have to stay in the game. Until unless you don't stay, it's very difficult. So to do this, what strategies Netflix has used, firstly was having subscription based model, because this was the most convenient part for the consumers, that they didn't have to pay penalties what they used to pay earlier for returning the DVDs late. So this was the very different concept. And secondly, having consumer convenience, having consumer centric approach it's very important to attract them and also gaining the popularity. Secondly, they had their own original content, then having the licensed content as well. So this was the great strategies they had been, and also a very important was they adopted the technology earlier than their competitors. That was the second greatest move, and through this they managed to survive in the entertainment industry. Then moving on to profit maximization, what they had strategies being used. Firstly, they gained the revenue through monthly or yearly subscriptions, and Secondly, having access around, diversifying their access. For somewhere around today, they have 190 plus countries having global as well as localized content. Then moving on to competitive strategy, as I mentioned, they don't only have the the other contents, licensed contents, but they had their own original content which is not available elsewhere than Netflix. This was the greatest move of Netflix to gain the competitive advantage or stayed for a longer period of time in the industry. In conclusion, I'll conclude by telling that today, every time people talk about strategy, successful strategy, Netflix is the most studied successful strategies for today, and for any company to those companies that adopt technologies earlier, having consumer-centric approaches and being consistent into it, will tend to stay for a longer period of time. Thank you all for your kind attention, and thank you, sir, for the opportunity. That was all about it. I'm Sultana Banu. I completed my schooling from Sri Vidyaniketan English High School and completed my pre-university education from St. Francis PU College, and I completed my bachelor's in commerce BCom, specialized in accounting and finance from the same St. Francis College. And soon after completing it, I did join MBA, and currently I'm here.